have to think about that. Maybe Zach from Zach and Cody. Wait, the cool one, yeah, Zach. Oh my god. Oh no, my first crush ever was Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember telling my mom one time when I was, I don't know, 8. It was like such a serious moment in the car, and I'm like, Mom, I have to tell you something. I like someone, and she thought it was a real person, and I told her it was Yu-Gi-Oh! And she's like, who's that? I'm like, you know the show I watch? Wow, no one's ever known that. Some exclusive content for Pushthewall. Hey guys, I'm Felice.com, and you're here with Pushthewall. I am from the Philippines, but I moved to Canada when I was 1 year old, so basically I grew up all my life here. I'm from Saga, so living in the suburbs, especially as a photographer, whenever I come downtown, it's like I see it with a new set of eyes just because it's still all so new to me, but I pretty much commute every day, so. I honestly thought I would be a singer. I always had the goal of being a singer because like that was the era of like Hilary Duff and Lindsay Lohan, all that. Honestly, I always had academic goals growing up, so I was a super big nerd. Oh my god, this is hard. This is kind of hard to focus. Video games have always been in my life. Always Nintendo though, like never PS4 or Xbox, just from the 64 to the GameCube to the Wii and now the Switch, just because I honestly just play Smash. I started with self-portraits. That was the era of like when Facebook just became popular. I've always wanted to give myself the confidence through photos. So I was, in that case, I was my own model and photographer for a very long time. And when I started to get more into it and I had more ideas, I found that the self-timer tripod thing wasn't working out for me. I sought out friends to execute my ideas, and then it went from there. And then Instagram came up, and I found a bigger network of creatives to work with. I considered it, honestly, but I don't know, like in my opinion, art can't be taught in class, especially because it's so subjective. Like I couldn't even imagine how you grade things, or like who's to say what's good and what's not. It's just one teacher's opinion, really, so. Never really. It's all self-taught. I think the best way is just to go out in the field and do it instead of just sitting in class learning theory. It's not an art for that. Years of asking my friends to model for me, and I've quickly learned that all my camera shy friends, I've grown apart from them because now this is just what I do every day. Now I can say at this point, every one of my friends are creatives of some sort, and no one is camera shy. Literally the cheapest camera I could find at Walmart, and I use that for maybe, like if I've been shooting for 10 years now, I used it for maybe 6 of those years. Just like always faking it, or like, that's why I'm never like really one to judge about someone's gear and stuff, because it's really just all about the photographer themselves. Never about the gear. Yes, digital for sure. And I think I started film maybe just 2 years ago. And it's just so much more genuine now. It's what all the pros use. It's what you see in magazines too. So that's that's the look that I want to really emulate. It really shows like who's the real photographer and your knowledge about the relationship between light and your subject. First, I started it to challenge myself, and now that I've become really good at it, it's hard to go back to digital. Overcoming my shyness of even like working with strangers at all, because I was always someone who just like want to do it myself. If I could be like a one-man team, like always wanted to just do that and not rely on others. But it's just, I've had this Instagram account for a long time now, like maybe just as long as I've been shooting. Just growing the network there and having people reach out to me and vice versa. You really just get more comfortable with each gig and each experience. Right now, Big Mouth or Rick and Morty, they're honestly at the same level for me. Do you guys watch? That's So Raven was my favorite, and Sweet Life and Zack and Cody were my favorite TV shows on Family. I never was an anime person, but if Kirby counts, I loved when the show Kirby was on. I really like Billie Eilish right now. I really wish I was on her team of photographers. I just want someone to like depend on my visuals to create their aesthetic. And then definitely I want to be traveling. I really want to move out to Japan and be able to work or live there for months at a time and just get commissioned there. So that's really the goal. Definitely to work with the people that are right now inaccessible to me, like it's too big for me to even reach out to, but I want them to respect me enough that they can count on me to produce their like artwork, cover arts, any kind of photos they need. I always look out for colors, so when I'm editing and color grading, I always try to make it look at like the way I saw it with my own eyes on the day of. I try not to make anything look too fake, but whenever I'm trying to make something a little bit more dramatic, I like referencing movies. So whenever I watch movies, I really take into account the color grading and the lighting. So if like a certain person or a location or just a moment reminds me of a scene of a movie that I like, I try to emulate that, try to like imitate the same color grading as that scene. So definitely movies are my big inspiration when it comes to that. Iconic. Honestly, it's something that's not even out yet. This recent shoot that I did with Vitaly, it was just last week. It was for their fall campaign. It was really cool. Like most of my shoots are like just me and the model or maybe just one person. So I've never really been on a big set like that before. And it was the first time and everything just worked out. It's great. But hopefully by the time the video comes out, I'll have photos to reference. Funny or good or bad? I'm thinking all of the negative things that I don't really want to expose. Let me think. I won't say names, but every photographer has had this moment where they've had a catfish, especially with like Facetune nowadays and people who just abuse that. Like it was hard for me because I'm not one to Photoshop or anything, but what I expected someone to look like, it was just completely different. I think this goes for every artist, like translating what's going on in your head and trying to bring it or make it come to life in real life. That can be said for like musicians, painters, any kind of art really. Yeah, it's just bridging the gap between what you're envisioning in your mind and then what really comes out when you execute the shoot. To start film, never digital. Actually, no, like I think everyone needs to learn both. I could be like shy or passive sometimes, and sometimes like opportunities can come, and if I only was more assertive and asked to be on that set or asked to shoot that model, I could have gotten somewhere much more gigs. So that ties into the question of things I regret or people I regret not shooting when I had the chance. I have to think about that. Maybe Zach from Zach and Cody. Wait, the cool one, yeah, Zach. Oh my god. Oh no, my first crush ever was Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember telling my mom one time when I was, I don't know, 8. It was like such a serious moment in the car, and I'm like, Mom, I have to tell you something. I like someone, and she thought it was a real person, and I told her it was Yu-Gi-Oh! And she's like, who's that? I'm like, you know the show I watch? Wow, no one's ever known that. Some exclusive content for Pushthewall. Definitely Pokemon, yeah, especially because there was like a game for it, there were cards, there's so many chances to get into it. Those ones, I still have it, I honestly still play, but the quality is so shit now compared to what's out. Always fire, yeah. I'm a fire sign too, so, but I don't know. Actually, never leaf because like it's always the weakest one to me. I like when you choose water, they can eventually learn surf, so you can like just mission everywhere. But yeah, fire types are always my fave. For Adidas heads, it's called the Temper Runs. They're purple, and I got them in Japan, and they never released here. So those are my favorite. They're like big. They're two sizes too big for me because they're men's, but I rock them anyway. I know people who study older photographers. Like all of them are like white old men. I don't know any of them. Like maybe Andy Warhol. That's the only one I can mention. But all those famous names I've never really gotten into. I really like all the people who currently doing their thing, and all of them just happen to be women. So definitely Petra Collins, Daria Kobayashi Rich, I think that's her name. There's a bunch, but yeah. Billie Eilish for sure. Right now I really like Clairo, and there's this new artist called Biba Doobie. I really want to, all these like musicians that I really want to do cover arts for. Yeah, I have a list. Oh, Tyler the Creator, that's my number one, yeah. But he's like someone who doesn't even like photos, so I want to be, if I could be that photographer that makes him like having his photo taken, that would be a dream. Definitely go to make more connections in Japan. I really want to have an excuse to stay out there longer. Branch out and get more work outside of Toronto. Like I really want to be based in New York or LA. I just see a lot of opportunities there that I don't get to see here, especially in LA with all the beautiful sun, the infinite good lighting. And again, to work with all those artists that I mentioned. Stop hiring creepy male photographers and hire me instead.
That's perfect.